close-up look at all your Concho Valley High School football. This is Inside the Game. Sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.
Well, howdy and happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Week 6. Can you believe it? Time's flying. We're already midway through the season. KSAN's Inside the Game, where we take you inside the games here in the Concho Valley. I'm your host, Griff McClellan. You may notice that tonight, a handful of teams are currently on their bye week, 11 to be precise, getting some rest before district play officially kicks off for many next week. But until then, Week 6 is nearly in the books, and as usual, we've got all the scores and highlights for you. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Tonight, starting with Class 3A and an all-Concho Valley clash, featuring Grape Creek, winners of 2 straight, visiting winless San Angelo TLCA, still looking for its first win in almost 2 years. First quarter action, Jackson is shown 2-yard touchdown run for TLCA after they recover an onside kick to start the game. PAT run failed, 6-0 TLCA. Talk about a bold start. Grape Creek first drive now. Quarterback Braley Woods connects with Ashton Ortiz on a long pass to the TLCA 2-yard line. Down he goes near the goal line. Touchdown, saving tackle here by TLCA's Chris Rangel. And 2 plays later, Darrell West, 1-yard touchdown run. Kick failed, though, so we're not at all at 6 in this Concho Valley matchup on quite a beautiful night for football. Early second quarter now, Grape Creek's next possession after a shanked punt by TLCA. GC takes it over at TLCA 40, and West scores his second touchdown here. PAT run makes it 14-6 now, making up for the deficit, and Grape Creek runs away with it from that point on. Final score 49-12, Grape Creek Eagles. And next up, the Wall Hawks hit the road for the 4th time in 6 weeks, this time heading about 3 hours north to face Idalou. We'll get you to the highlights in just a moment, but before then, let's dive more into the matchup. Wall kept its number 2 ranking heading into its Week 6 matchup at Idalou. The Hawks certainly had momentum on its side, coming off its second shutout win of the season, 35-0 over Sweetwater in Week 5. That marked Wall's second shutout win of the season, and defensively, the Hawks had not allowed more than 13 points in a single game. That bodes well for the Hawks' offense, because this week in practice the focus was all on limiting miscues. According to head coach Craig Slaughter, his team was leaving too many plays on the field, which must be addressed going up against an Idalou squad that had previously won 3 straight.
Another long road trip, and we've done great on the road so far this year. You know, I want another healthy game, and I want to see us continue to cut out mistakes, especially offensively. You know, I want no giveaway plays, you know, bad penalties, drops, you know, poor snaps or whatever. You know, I want no giveaway plays offensively is what I'd love to see.
And time to now cue the highlights. Second-ranked Wall visiting Idalou Friday night to wrap up non-district play. Opening kickoff, Reed Robertson on the return loses the ball, though just exactly what you don't want if you're Wall. Idalou recovers, and Craig Slaughter talked about it, giveaways. So Wall gives it away on its opening kickoff. Idalou makes the Hawks pay on its ensuing drive, though, as Wildcats Camden Lutrick keeps the ball himself here for a Wildcat touchdown, making the home crowd happy as Idalou goes ahead 7-0 to start. But of course, the number 2 team in the state wouldn't go down without a fight. Quarterback Landon York scrambles to his right, rolls right, throws across to Robertson, met immediately in the secondary, holds on to the football that time, but he sets Wall up at 1st and goal. And the Hawks capitalize. Handoff next few plays goes to Grant Sellers for a Wall touchdown. Tie ball game. This was a turbulent first half for both teams as the teams went into the break, knotted up at 14, but a strong second half response propels Wall to another win. 35-21 the final from Idalou. Now over to Class 4A, our lone representative, Lakeview, back at San Angelo Stadium, running out the tunnel, looking for a bounce-back win, hosting Burnett. Chiefs' opening drive capped off by a 25-yard touchdown catch from Chris Alviso to Chris Rodella there, Chris to Chris, 7-0 early Chiefs. And Chiefs, though, respond after the 50-yard Burnett touchdown. Alviso to Braylon White this time for the go-ahead score. 13-7, Lakeview leads again. Burnett's second touchdown of the day is a short yardage dive, the 2-point conversion good, as Burnett goes ahead. 15-13 Chiefs looking to respond again. Alviso with a fade to the corner, and he's just out of bounds. Lakeview punches it in the next play and converts the ensuing 2-point try. Lakeview held a 29-22 lead going into halftime, a pretty high-scoring first half. Alviso had 4 touchdown passes, but things got turbulent in the second half as the Chiefs trail 46-36 at last check. But that's not all, because let's now sending out to San Angelo Stadium, where Brian Cunningham is live for some updated Lakeview post-game insight. Brian, the floor is yours.
Good evening, I'm Brian Cunningham, and we are live from a very quiet San Angelo Stadium as Week 6 of the high school football season has just wrapped up here between Lakeview and Burnet. And unfortunately, it was a result that the Lakeview fans are going to wish they had back, as the Chiefs have just dropped their second consecutive game in the season after starting 4-0 on the year. They dropped this one 46-36 was the final score, and it was a game in which Lakeview actually held the halftime lead at 22-29 in this one, and they had full advantage. But it was one of those games where I mentioned in the pregame you had to limit mistakes, and if you were Lakeview, you couldn't force any mistakes. You couldn't make any mistakes yourself, and if you were Burnet, you had to force the hand of Lakeview. You had to force these mistakes, and they would do exactly as that. Burnet would come out and score the first 24 points in the second half before Lakeview scored that final touchdown at the very end of the game. Again, it was a lopsided second half, and one of those mistakes was a punt return touchdown, or a punt return fumble turned into a touchdown for Burnet, and then a 64-yarder third down backbreaker touchdown to really put the game away. Again, Lakeview had to limit these mistakes, but now we look ahead to district play, again, live from San Angelo Stadium. We're going to send it back to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Time to take our first time out of the night, but don't go anywhere. You know the drill, because when we return, we'll have all 6 man scores and highlights. Stay with us. Inside the Game returns after this break. Welcome back to Inside the Game Week 6 edition. As promised, let's dive right in with some 6 man scores and highlights, starting with the red-hot Water Valley Wildcats. Top 10 showdown, second-ranked Water Valley welcoming Rankin to town on homecoming. Final minute, first quarter, Wildcats already ahead 24-6. But look here, on 4th and goal, Landon Lacing going deep and finds his man in the corner. That's Hayden Colster, touchdown, 32-6. Water Valley cruising. Red Devils ensuing possession, clock winding down. Kyan Hanna chucks a deep ball to Matthew Ramos, leaps up for it, hauls it in, spins, and he's finally brought down near the 10-yard line. Penalty gives Rankin extra yardage there. First play, second quarter, touchdown Rankin. It's Ramos again. Plows his way forward for 6, cutting the deficit to 32-12. PAT no good. 20-point game. Ensuing kickoff, Red Devils going onside, takes a great hop, but Boston Weiss takes care of the rest, spins out of that tackle, breaks free for the touchdown. Wildcats go ahead 38-12. And Rankin trying to respond on its next drive, 4th and goal, but it's not there. Incomplete at the goal line. Turnover on downs, back to Water Valley, and that's all she wrote. Very next play, another electrifying touchdown run by Branson Lacey. Water Valley goes ahead 46-12 en route to a dominant 68-20 victory. The Wildcats stay undefeated. 5th-ranked Robert Lee visiting Bront in the latest chapter of this Coke County rivalry. And Bront, the home team, strikes first. Raymond Williams shows a burst of speed down the sideline. There he goes, touchdown Longhorns, 6-0. But Robert Lee, of course, responds. Brenner Sherwood, he can do it all. Makes 2 defenders miss on the tackle, and he walks into the end zone all alone, 8-6 steers. But Bront answers right back. Parker Holland gets the handoff. He finds tons of space. Nothing but green grass. He cuts to his left. He's gone for 6, 12-8. Longhorns. Robert Lee answers once again. It's Sherwood again. He scores standing up again. Steers back on top again. For the remainder of this one, what started as a close game turns into a beatdown. Steers win it by a final score of 70-20. Erie County desperately needing a win at 1-4 in the season, facing a tall task. The 3rd-ranked May Tigers. First quarter scoreless. 6:47 remaining, and the Tigers strike first. Pitch to Lane Goodson in the backfield. Makes a man miss. He's across. 8-0 May. Hornets trying to respond, and they do. Rylan Ray in stride defender falls down, and he breaks free down the sideline. There he goes. Touchdown Hornets. PAT no good. So 8-6 ball game. May's ensuing drive, they respond. Goodson again, this time tosses it up top to a wide open man. That's Kobe Morris. Touchdown Tigers. 16-6. But May not done dominating yet. You guessed it. Goodson does it again. Somehow escapes, and he's gone. He breaks free. The Tigers run away with this one. Final score 60-12. And Verabest at last check ahead on Nueces Canyon 41-38 in the 4th quarter. The Falcons are another team desperate for a win, entering the week with a 1-4 record, having been shut out 3 times already. They've definitely bounced back tonight, now looking to close the game and secure win number 2. And Eden coming off its first loss of the season, hungry for another W, and it looks like they're going to get it. Ahead 52-28 in the 4th quarter at the Bears Den. These teams played an absolute thriller last year, with Eden emerging narrowly 44-42, but this time it's turning out to be much more of a lopsided affair as the Dogs look to close it out. Thursday night, Paint Rock taking on the 3-way, looking to close non-district play on a bright note. First quarter we go, already 14-0 visitors, and make it 22-0. Colin Grant plows his way forward, breaks the plane, touchdown, 3-way Braves. Second quarter, Braves ball again after a 4th down stop in the red zone. Grant again takes the pitch, cuts to his left, slides, and he's in. Touchdown Braves, 30-0. The route is on. 3-way fails an onside kick attempt, giving the Indians great field position. Elijah Rodriguez, ball was a snap, picks it up somehow, cuts downfield, gains good yardage, and is finally brought down. Paint Rock within striking distance now near the red zone. Very next play, watch this. This is a highlight reel play if you ask me. Caden Gunn picks it up, finds Jaden Jackson, never takes his eye off the ball with great concentration, keeps his eyes on it the whole time, never gives up from the play. And into Braves territory he goes, finally brought down near the goal line. Second and goal, direct snap to the big man, Ismael Altamirano. He's across. That ball crosses the plane. Paint Rock on the board, cutting the deficit to 22 at 30-8. Great drive, but overall not a great night for the home team. Final score 3-59, Paint Rock 14. And week 6 is not done quite yet. Blackwell hosts Panther Creek Saturday night to conclude non-district. Still searching for win number 1. If history does repeat itself, that's good news for Hornets. That's because Blackwell finished winless in non-district a year ago, but turned its season around going 3-1 in district, clinching the district title. The Hornets look to turn their season around once again, and it all starts tomorrow. Time for another timeout, but don't go away because when we return, we have a pretty special segment. A Central Bobcat and his father have created a football legacy. Stay tuned for this incredible story next on Inside the Game. Welcome back to Inside the Game Week 6 edition. The Central Bobcats are currently on their bye week before beginning district play next week. But until then, KSAN Sports caught up with a Central Bobcat and his father who have created a football legacy together at the school. Here's David Davis with that story.
Central High School has seen its share of football talent over the decades. And this season, one player is carrying not just the Bobcat name, but a family legacy. Ethan Boyd is a 16-year-old, 6'5", 300-pound offensive guard for the varsity Bobcats, but his roots in this program go back farther than just his first snap.
My dad being so good here, it motivates me to want to be as good as he was and to have the same effect at Central as he did, because he's a known name. Everybody has talked about him when I got here, and it's great having a figure like that to live up to, so it motivates you to try to become like he was.
His dad, Dr. Michael Boyd, now a general surgeon in San Angelo, once suited up for the Bobcats himself in the 1990s. But back then, he was a safety, and in 1995, he earned the honor of being named Mr. Bobcat.
You know, it was completely unexpected. You know, I didn't obviously play the season expecting to get that honor. Just tried to play as hard as we could, be a team player. You know, try to be a leader as much as possible, but lead by example. It's no longer about me. It's been passed on to his generation. It's all about him, you know, and he's running with it. And it's great to see him on the other side of the ball and being successful. And me and his mom, being able to watch him in my family and being from the hometown means a whole lot to us.
The privilege of playing for the Bobcats also means a lot to Ethan.
It's great to be on the football team, and it's amazing that I get to continue that all the way up to senior year. Being on varsity is amazing. It's a gifted experience. Not a lot of people get to take advantage of that, and I'm happy I did because it's moved me as a person and it's helped me a lot.
And while Ethan is trying to follow in the same steps as 1995's Mr. Bobcat, it would seem his father's influence goes beyond just football.
I would also like to go into the medical field as my father. I'm really looking at anesthesiology. I think that's an amazing field to go into. I find it very fascinating, and I feel like I would be very good at it.
For KSAN News, I'm David Davis.
Thanks, David. We're calling our third and final timeout of the evening, but don't go just yet because coming up next, our Trivia Challenge, Week 6 recap, plus an early Week 7 preview. Inside the Game, we'll be back right after this. All right, folks, welcome back to KSAN's Inside the Game. Thanks for sticking around tonight. But as usual, before we conclude each show, we'd like to remind you that our high school football trivia challenge is active. And of course, with football season comes our annual Concho Valley High School Football Trivia Challenge. To enter the sweepstakes, simply visit our website, ConchoValleyHomepage.com. Click the contest tab above and submit your answers each week for your chance to win the grand prize, a $100 HEB gift card. Weekly winners are announced every Sunday night, each of whom receive an automatic bid for the final drawing. The grand prize winner will be announced at the end of the season in mid-November. And looking at tonight's trivia question, in which year did Wall claim its first ever district title? Is the answer A, 1940, B, 1967, C, 1988, or D, 2006? Again, remember to visit our site to submit your answer. Now to recap Week 6, in case you're just now tuning in. Lakeview and Burnett go back and forth on a high-scoring duel. Ultimately, Lakeview comes up short, losing its second in a row. Not ideal result there, but Great Creek continues to roll, winning its third straight game, scoring at least 40 or more points, shutting down San Angelo TLC on the road. And second-ranked Wall overcomes a slow start at Idalou, holds on to win by 14 as the Hawks stay undefeated. And in six-man, a highly anticipated top 10 matchup turns into a blowout. Water Valley handles ranking with ease, winning by 48, 68-20 the final there. And fifth-ranked Robert Lee cruises over Bront in the Coke County shootout, 70-20, winning by 50. And now looking ahead to Week 7, Central returns home, hosting Midland Legacy in its district opener after its bye week. Lakeview travels to Brownfield for its non-district finale before a bye week. Wall kicks off district play right away, hosting Merkel. Grape Creek travels to Coahoma, and Brady also returns from its bye week opening district versus Dublin. And all Class 2A schools officially resume action after their bye week, officially kicking off district. That is, Cristobal travels to face Colorado City. Sonora hits the road again at Forsan. Christian Villarreal and 7th-ranked Ozona host Reagan County. Mason hosts Thorndale, looking to turn its season around. And finally, 5th-ranked Junction looks to stay undefeated, hosting Center Point. And that's a wrap on KSAN's Inside the Game Week 6. Thanks for joining us as always, and be sure to tune in again for Week 7 when district play begins for a lot of teams. But until then, have a good night, Concho Valley.
Catering for Friday night football staff is provided by Chick-fil-A. Inside the Game is sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.